Can you tell within 10 seconds if someone's energy is off? Or whenever you walk into an environment that it just is not the environment for you? Well, in this reading today, we're going to be talking about the organ that is correlated with that. And this is someone specifically that experiences that as well. So we're going to go deeper into her chart. We're going to go deeper into the physical body aspects of it through that lens of Chinese medicine. And it's going to be yummy, yummy, delicious. I had so much fun talking with Tina today. I hope you do too. Hello, and welcome back to Sacred Rhythms. I am Naomi Faith, and today we have someone that I thoroughly enjoy talking to every single time. Every single time is a delight of a conversation. I giggle and laugh loudly every single time. It's awesome. Thank you for being here. I so appreciate you taking me up on this offering, and I'm curious to see what you end up finding that resonates with your body, your health, your emotional, spiritual, the whole picture of who you are. Just to let everyone know who Tina is. Tina, my exposure of Tina is that she is a holistic health coach coming out of Texas. And I don't know what exactly her specialty is, but I do know that it involves energy work and looking at the whole body picture. And she loves astrology as well as Chinese medicine. So I am thoroughly excited to chat with someone who has a similar love and passion that I do. Yay! So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be starting with the astrology side, and then we're going to jump into the TCM side. And then we're going to kind of connect those two together and look at some things that might be coming up in the sky right now and
Okay.
might be affecting you right now.
Sounds good.
Do you have any initial questions for me? Any statements or anything?
Mm-mm.
Just want to make sure you have all the space and opportunity to speak, to use your voice. Okay, so Tina, this is your chart. This is what the sky looked like whenever you were born. You're going to be sitting here in the center, and all of these icons here are planets or asteroids or points. And then we have the stars hanging out here, and the lines in the middle are geometric angles that the planets are forming with each other. And those angles are also creating a dynamic with those same planets. And it can be a positive, a neutral, negative, like dynamic. We're not going to talk about any of that. I just wanted you to kind of know what you're seeing. And the main connecting piece that we're going to be talking about, though, is the houses. So the houses are little pie pieces that are numbered. That is going to be one of the biggest connecting pieces that connect the organ chart with the astrology chart. So specifically with your chart, we're going to be looking at your sun, where it's sitting, and what that means with the sun sign and everything like that. And then we're going to be looking at your rising sign and the planet that rules your rising sign and where that's sitting as well. How much do you know about I know you know about Taurus, which, by the way, that's like where your Taurus is specifically is like a really big thing too that I can't wait to talk about. But what all do you know about your rising sign? Anything like the planet that rules your rising sign? What all do you know about that?
I haven't really got into all the houses.
Okay.
I've read about it, but I haven't studied it in depth.
Okay, cool.
I've just mainly studied in depth everybody's sun sign.
And I love that. I love, because guys, whenever we would talk about people's sun sign, she like was spouting shit out, like, and I was like, you are so awesome. It was so awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your Taurus, and then I'll more heavily go into the rising sign stuff, and then we'll talk about the houses. And the houses will tie in with the organs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So your sun sign is a Taurus. So number one, Tauruses are all about pleasure and sex, food, money, like all the things that have to do with physical earth and the pleasure that it is to be human. And what I love about your specific Taurusness is that it's at 29 degrees Taurus. That's at the very end of Taurus. That is actually a mastery degree. And so that means that, energetically, you have mastered what it's like to be a Taurus.
Interesting. I haven't heard.
And the other thing too is like that also means that you're incredibly stubborn.
No. Tenacious.
Okay, yes, I'm
Tenacious.
sorry, reframe, my bad. Yes, incredibly tenacious. I love it. Yes, yes. So there's a lot of innate wisdom in how you hold and handle and move through those aspects of being a Taurus. So all of that, the money, the sex, the food, all of that stuff, there is an innate wisdom that you naturally embody because of it being at 29 degrees in Taurus.
Is it 29 because at the last couple days of okay.
Yep. So each season, so Taurus season, Aries season, each day is generally 1 degree. And so if a person is born right at the end, their degree of their sun is going to be right at the end as well. Yeah. Same for like if you were born the next day, it would be like 0 degrees Gemini. And that would be a completely different energy. It would be like, oh, I'm brand new. I'm a baby here in the Gemini world.
Ah, okay.
So the 0 degree and the 29th degree are actually really critical degrees, is what they call it, because of the level of vibe, right? Like the 0 versus the 29. Everything else in between is like a learning, a level of learning.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if somebody says I'm a cuss, so I could be like a Gemini, I'd be like, no, I'm a mastery of a Taurus.
Yes, say that. Absolutely say that. No, you're wrong.
Don't
Amongst
call me no Gemini.
That's right, bitch. Do not. I am a master of Taurus. Thank you.
Oh Lord. No Gemini for me.
So it's sitting in the eighth house, which is associated with shared resources. It's associated with the occult. So things that have more of like a stigma associated with them, like you're quite comfortable in that world. If there's a stigma or anything that's hidden, this is also the house where sex does live too. The other piece that I'm being reminded of is this area of the chart is connected to long-term relationships. So you're very familiar with the dynamic that comes in a partnership that is, once again, long term. So the dynamic that like, I understand your nuances, I understand your inner thoughts because I've been with you for a long time. I understand your inner world because of that.
Would so with that question,
Mhm.
because Tauruses are known for long-term relationships and they're also known to avoid red flags and staying when they shouldn't.
Hmm.
How does that correlate with that, or is this something different?
I would absolutely say it does correlate with it, especially specifically for you because of the Libra stuff that we're going to be talking about, because that also has to do with Libra too. So
Interesting.
you have like a double, actually, technically like a triple whammy with all of the like not being able to say goodbye or not being able to discern because you're blended in, like you're watery, like the blended in.
Mhm.
So there is a level of like, because the brain and the mind and all of this, whenever you're able to perceive and live in relationship with another, if it's out of health or out of balance, then yes, absolutely, it could be that. But it can also be a really helpful tool because of all of this sight that you have here, all of the stuff that you're meant to be learning here, because wherever your sun is, that is the stuff that you're here to be learning about. Your
Okay.
frontal lobe, your consciousness, your ego, here to be learning about that. Your sun is sitting in an area that is all about the other person. And so part of what you're here to be learning, like your ego, your frontal lobe is here to be learning about is that dynamic in a way that is nuanced, like the extremes, like the whole spectrum. That's the word I'm looking for. The spectrum of what it's like to be in a long-term relationship. And it's not just your one-on-one partner. It's just anything that is long-term relating. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, but I think once you get to what you were saying about this part of the Libra will make more sense to me.
Okay. So your rising sign is in Libra and mine is too. Yay for that. So what that means is that Venus is the planet that rules Libra, and anything, whatever planet, whatever sign is sitting in your ruling house, the first house, that is the energy that is most intrinsic to you. This is something that's natural. This is effortlessness softness. Like this is easy for you to embody. And Libra specifically, she is ruled by Venus, similar to how Taurus is ruled by Venus. But the difference is that one is an air sign and one is an earth sign. So the Libra quality of Venus is what comes natural to you. And that quality is going to be all about relationships and the give and receive, the dynamic between me and you. And the shadow of that is going to be people pleasing, forgetting of oneself, staying longer than you probably should, that type of energy. And there's another thing here that's sitting. The other thing is that I've been greatly benefited from with this concept is that Libra represents the mirror. So whenever someone has a Libra rising and or Libra in their first house, a lot of life itself, whatever comes into your vision, whatever comes into your life, it's actually a mirror point for you. That's what it's there for, is to reflect something back to you. People that don't have Libra in the first house, they're going to experience that mirror point in a different way. So the other piece with this too, this is the triple whammy part. So that's the double whammy is like
So
you
what
have you go ahead.
mirror so with that, my first thought is, so if somebody is like this ratchet, horrid person that's mirroring, is that me?
So this is where it gets a little you know, lack of a better way of saying it. These are the people that you're drawing and magnetizing towards you. So it's not just a Joe Schmo on the street. It's people that are, especially because of your stuff that's hanging out in the eighth house too. It's people that you are not only magnetizing, but also keeping in your field. And so it could be if you're magnetizing someone that is like, what were the words that you said? What give me some descriptive.
Ratchet and horrid?
Yes, action and horrid. Um, that it and they're staying in your field, they're staying in your life, then that is actually that's where the curiosity and the understanding can come in. That's where the inner reflection comes in. Is like, what is and I feel like you know this, given how we know each other and what we learn together. But the reflection that you're seeing, what is this reflection? Like, what's the frequency that's in me that's getting opened up right now?
Well,
And
then that would explain though, because I don't deal with any of that. So that
ooh,
what you just said,
yes,
it shows me why, because I can't deal with I'm a big energy person. And
yes,
so I can meet somebody and within the first 10 seconds, I'd be like, I like them or I don't.
yes,
And there's
yeah,
only been a few times that I have been wrong to where
yeah,
I've gave somebody some of my time when come to find out they were a bad person.
yeah.
But unfortunately, we were kind of stuck together because it's partly family. But yeah, I can immediately tell. I'm like, I can't stand them. I can pull into a city and be like, I can't stand this place or I could live here instantly.
That's beautiful, and that's a gift, and I really do think that that's connected to that TCM stuff. That is, amazing because I really do think that there is absolutely a connection with you being able to, um, essentially discern. I mean, it's deeper than that, like, it really feels like it's actually a visceral, like your body is responding to something that's unseen.
That makes sense because then I also struggle, for instance, where my husband and I will differ, just, different because of where he came from and I came from of maybe, I don't know if it's military or non-military or, I'm not sure if that's a component of it, but where we have other set of grandparents where I can't stand one of them, but yet
Mhm.
in his mind, we have to keep them close because I can't stand it. Like the energy just makes my hair stand up and I can't, in my eyes, I'm being fake and I'm not a fake person
Mhm.
where where he can look at it through a different lens and be like, I'm not being fake. I'm keeping my enemies close and because we always need to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so I understand that, but I can't, my energy doesn't allow it because I can walk in the house and because, I need to be there with what he's saying, but yet my face is going to say everything. My body
Mhm.
language will say everything. Like, yeah, I'm sitting here, but I can't stand you. I can't fake it.
Yeah.
Um, where you, is that part of what you're saying?
I think so, yeah, and I've never seen it like that, but absolutely. So I have someone else that's near and dear to me that was also born during the bladder hour, and environments are very sensitive to her as well. And so
Hmm.
I really do think that there is something to be said about because and yeah, I already gave it away, the bladder hour, but like, there is something to be said because the bladder covers your entire back and goes into the head. And that's all stuff that we are not seeing, that we're not fully conscious of unless we make it conscious. And so to me, that I'm seeing that similarity of like your literal life, what you're here to be learning about is just the nuances. Once again, that spectrum of like
Hmm.
working with the unseen and the energies of other people, other environments, anything.
Because I'm the type that I don't want to give you my time or energy if I can't stand you. That's a waste of my time where I could be putting that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Where some people do the opposite. And that's hard for me because then I feel this negative, heavy weight and like, like this anger inside of me. Like, why am I here? Like, this is not where I need to
Mhm.
be or what I want to be doing.
Mm. I love that. And I love that, like, to me, that sounds like that level of mastery too.
That
It's
could be.
not, it's like, what does and does not work for your
Hmm.
bladder. Or,
Right.
what I mean? Like, like, and it's more than that, but like the bladder is the root of who we are in a way. It is
Huh?
also the kidneys, but it's like, it is very much our base. And so it literally determines that it's connected to the whole spine. And so it's like knowing your spine, knowing what you can stand in versus not. And that
And
to
I
me is like a level of mastery.
hold all of my fear and stress in my low back, right by the kidney.
Mm. And there's something there too with that for sure.
Hmm.
For sure. Okay, so there's the triple whammy with the Libra rising stuff. So the double whammy was you got two dominating lessons. I mean, there one is a lesson, one is actually supportive. So that Libra energy is once again that intrinsic thing. But the double whammy is the fact that they're both ruled by Venus.
Mm.
The triple whammy is that you've got Pluto sitting in Libra.
So what does
So,
that mean?
yeah, so Pluto is a slow moving planet, it's a generational planet. It's also associated with the death, rebirth, transformation process. Its location being so close to your ascendant. So, this is where Pluto is right here. Can you see it? Okay. And then this is the ascendant line, that dotted line. So this is
Hmm.
where the horizon was the moment you were born, based off of your birth time. So wherever the horizon of our birth chart is sitting, that point is the point where we transition from being in the womb of all that is possible, like the creation womb. And in astrology, it's also connected to the 12th house that comes right before the first house. And that 12th house is connected to all that is. So the great universe, like it's us being connected as a soul to all other souls. Okay. And then as soon as we land Earthside and we cross over that horizon in our physical matter,
Hmm.
that is when we begin our journey as a human. And so the fact that Pluto is sitting right before you coming into your humanness, and the fact that it's also in Libra, what that tells me is that there's something about the how you transform in relationships and how you allow yourself to transform through the process of relationship. So I know that like what we've talked about is like what the people and the environments that are good for you and the environments that your body's like, "No, thank you."
Mm, right?
So I'm curious about because there is something important that, you've been or that you're being asked to learn about whenever it comes to who I am in relationships, like my human vessel and how I relate. Does anything stick out to you with any of this? I'm just curious.
Part that I can't resonate with is what I'm supposed to be learning. But the other stuff, it definitely like when it comes to the long term, when to leave, when you stay too long, that was always my past. So that was hard for me to determine of what it was
Mm.
because that was always what I did. I was in long term Could have been the reason I stayed was from past, like growing up in a broken home and, that type of hurt that was never addressed. And then the other part is because Tauruses are known for long-term relationships. That's how we thrive and that's how we function.
Mhm.
We don't believe in walking away. We believe in resolution, fix things. We're fixers and we are huge. Like we're big lovers. Like that's just who we are.
Mhm.
So trying to figure out that, like, so the whole first part was right, but then the second part, I'm like, "What am I trying to learn? I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn."
And that's fine because it feels so this is a slow moving planet, and this is something that is not as loud, especially
Mm,
whenever it's not aspecting like those lines that are in your chart. Whenever it's not connected to another significant personal planet, meaning like your sun or your moon or it's not going to be the lessons or the process of transformation is not going to be as loud. But the other curiosity I have is did you ever hear your birth story? Do you know if there was something that happened that might have been significant?
well, my mom had me.
Or was it just like a normal?
I know that she labored for 48 hours, so I gave her hell.
Yeah, I did for my mom too.
So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that, for instance, my mom was very young. My mom was 13 and my dad was
Wow.
17 when they met.
Wow.
And from what which if it was true, she got pregnant the first time she had sex with me at 7 wait, yeah, it had to be yeah, she was 17, and so I don't know if this would carry through because what I feel that she kinda had resentment, and I'm just speculating, that there was some resentment towards me, not that she wanted to have it, but because, I was this not a mistake, but like a oops.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know what can happen if you're having unprotected sex and everything, but your first time experience and then you land pregnant. And then her whole senior year, she was pregnant with me. And then I think my dad and just kind of walked all over her. And, she was young and he just never treated her decent. So I don't know if any of that was pushed into, like anything to do
Yeah.
with my birth or some
Yeah.
of my childhood, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But just from the things that she said, those are my assumptions.
That.
And not only that, but then I saw it later in life when it came to me having kids. Like she never would take my kids and like spend the day with them. She would never do any of that.
Interesting.
So I felt like, again, all just hypothetically thinking and speaking, that it was her freedom.
Mm,
So now that, I was growing in out of the house, she was going to do what she wanted to do and
yeah.
not feel burdened by
Mhm.
anything.
Mhm.
Is that
Mm.
is that the truth? I don't know, but I know me being a grandparent, that's a complete opposite of how I think and feel.
Mhm. Well, what do you know what sign your mom is?
She's a Virgo.
Oh,
Both of my dad's a Capricorn and my mom's a
okay. Interesting.
Mhm. And she's
Interesting.
a Virgo, so she's an August Virgo. And
Okay.
she hates conflict.
Yeah.
She's very quiet, won't say anything. To me, she just doesn't represent the only thing of a Virgo to me that she represents is she's very grounded and she is excellent with money. I learned my finance, like watching her have
Mhm.
nothing and build something that was very minimal with, pennies that she had and how she supported me with nothing. I watched her and observed, and that's what, in my situations, when I went through with what I was
Yeah.
going through, it was because of watching her.
Yeah.
And then, just too, like Tauruses are known to be finance people, accounting people, like, we're the money people. So yes, that it was born in me, but it was also watching her.
Hmm.
But yeah, she don't represent anything else, in my opinion, of a Virgo.
Interesting.
She's
Well, and
not organized. She's
yeah.
not
She critical?
perfectionist. No,
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the rest of her chart was, but
right.
I do, and you bringing up your mom, like I know I asked about birth, but chatting about your mom, like it reminded me of how Pluto sitting in Libra could be associated with a mom wound too. So because that Pluto is all about like just the process of pain.
That could be. But then this is the flip. This is what's for me, what's weird because I had my family split up because my dad had the affair. And so I carried, obviously at that point when I found that out, I was very angry at my father. And then I was all about my mom. And then I was angry at my dad for a long time just because of things he kept doing. And then fast forward when I had kids, and then what I just said to you, how my mom was, I'm a girl. So I looked to my mom
Mhm.
and how she was not willing to help when I needed help with my kids. Like, just to do small things. In Minnesota in the dead of winter, like, "Can you help? Can you sit here and watch the kids so I can run errands without taking them out in 40, 50 below 0 weather,
Yeah.
please?"
Yeah.
Things like that. But before I got pregnant, oh, I should say I was 7 months pregnant, I had not spoken to my dad in a while.
Hmm.
And so we started speaking when I was 7 months pregnant, and then when I gave birth, he didn't leave my side. So my dad's and I relationship started to get rebuilt when I
Yeah.
was pregnant. And then he ended up getting cancer. And then fast forward, I got cancer. And so then we got that stronger bond because
Mhm.
now when I got diagnosed, then he felt comfortable talking to me about his cancer because he never wanted to do that prior. And then again, reverse that because then my dad is going through treatment when I'm going through treatment, and my mom never came down to help me when I was going through treatment. So I carried a lot of anger
Mhm.
for a handful of years because of that. So it just kept bouncing back and forth between both of my parents.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then when my husband, I went to take him up to meet my family, and that's when I let go of the anger towards my mom.
Mm.
Was that whole trip. And then I've been good ever since, but I ended up getting a cyst last year in my right breast, which is your mom's side. What
Mhm.
I said all that to bring it back to the mom wound.
Okay, cool. That's so interesting that it's gone back and forth, and that was last year, the mom side of that cyst.
Mhm.
Did you ever figure out, like, what it was connected to, or are you still kind of in that process?
The cyst?
Yeah.
No, but I think a lot of it had to do with just my hormones because I'm at the late stage of menopause. So
Yeah.
just the major hormone and stress.
Yeah.
Definitely and definitely stress.
Okay. So what's interesting is, and I wasn't planning on necessarily touching this until later, if depending on if we got to it. But so your Saturn, which is what represents dad, is actually in Cancer at one of the final degrees of Cancer, but Cancer is what represents mom. And
Wait, I
so
thought you just said dad.
Saturn is what represents dad.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
sign that your Saturn is what represents mom.
So what would that mean?
What I think is interesting is that it's that back and forth. Like, there's something about lessons or something about, like, just kind of going back and forth between those 2, and this is deeper than what I was, planning on going, and my cat's gonna join us here. Hello, Mitzi. But the axis of, Cancer and Capricorn is, where it's sitting for you specifically is connected with how your tree, the roots of who you are, who you come from, which I connect with the gallbladder, and then the fruit of your tree and what this is the fruit of your tree and what you're here to give back, which I associate with the heart. So that dynamic is also for you connected to that mom, dad stuff. And so, whenever you're going back and forth between working through stuff with your mom or working through stuff with your dad, you're actually, in one way or another, life is giving you an opportunity. God is giving you an opportunity to clarify, like, what are the gifts? What are the things that I want to share with the world? And what are the roots? Who is it that I want to be here? And is it in alignment with what I've inherited? Or is it more, let me say it this way, what I've inherited in alignment with who I wanna be, or is it not? And though, because that's what makes us who we are and how we be in this world.
I would say the first thing that jumped to my mind is no, because my first thing was I wanted to do everything different than like showing love for my kids and being there for my kids and
Yes.
um those are the first 2 things. Like, my dad never showed love for me. My mom, like, they weren't really big into showing that love.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
mom always said, "I love you," when I was younger, and then that went away. But then when I moved away, and especially after cancer, then they became more open.
Mm.
So even though I've went back and forth with holding the grudges or resentment, forgiveness is huge in my heart for people I love.
Mm.
So, like, that whole Taurus stubbornness, no, no, no. I am the first one. I'm like, I'm sorry, I forgive. And because of, I don't know, maybe that was God's path for my life of everything in my purpose,
Yeah.
was because now I'm very close to both of them.
Mm.
And if you would have seen or heard me speak of one of them during those times, I'd be like, I'm good without her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I wouldn't be happy if I wasn't close to both of
And there you go, like that mastery thing. You know what I mean? Like there's something
them.
incredibly beautiful about knowing. I mean, and once again, it's like, okay, I need to let this go. And I'm also open to moving through it as well.
Right.
And there, to me, that really feels like a deep wisdom and just a knowing, like it's in from a place of love.
Mhm.
And knowing what love would do both for myself, and I'm sensing that that's a part of what you're here to be clarifying is like, what is it that's true for me, like that is actually loving for me and not just loving for the other person.
Mhm.
And really understanding deeply, because your North Node is in Scorpio, understanding deeply what that is. And it's also going to be where that, so that North Node is that horseshoe shape that's sitting in Scorpio.
Okay.
So it's right just inside of that second house. The
Mhm.
second house is associated with our sense of self-worth and our sense of self-value. And so you are here to be deeply understanding what it is that you value and who it is that you want to be here. Like everything we've already mentioned. But that is where your soul, on a soul level, you're being called to lean into what is it that is a value of to me? And how can I also still hold love for all, like all that is meant to be, all the environments, all the people, all the opportunities that are meant for me? How can I hold love for that while still honoring my values and my needs?
Well, that was to a T right there.
Yay! Yay for that. Love it. Love that. Well, good. So okay, so there is I'm good with the astrology piece. Do you have any questions before I transition over?
Yeah. So I have all of those markers in the Taurus. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
All the planets in Taurus?
So
Is
I
that what
had
you
those
mean?
are all planets that are in Taurus.
Yeah, girl.
So that's
Yeah.
showing that I'm a strong Taurus.
Yes, girl. What's the word you use? Pernicious? That's not the word you use.
Tenacious.
Tenacious. Yes, that is what makes you tenacious.
So a lot of times, like, when if you are deep into the whole sun sign thing, again, when I'm in these Taurus groups and somebody will say about when people call them stubborn, they're like, no, we just very strong on our values,
Yep.
on our boundaries.
Yep.
And it's not that we're stubborn. We just know what we believe in what we feel.
Mhm.
But like I said, I'm the first one. I'll be like, I'm sorry, or to
Yeah.
forgive.
Yeah.
And you can't be stubborn if you're willing to do those things.
Mhm. It's true. It's true.
So are those, what planets are all of them?
So we have got Mercury, and then we've got your sun, and then we've got Venus and Jupiter.
So I have one that's right on the Aries cusp.
Yeah, so this is connected to this is actually at 29 degrees as well, if I'm remembering correctly. And we can scroll down to see, confirm. I just wanted to keep your private details private, but if you're comfortable with me sharing it, I can show that too. But I believe it's 29 degrees. And that was something that I was going to mention as well with the transits that are happening in the sky right now. Chiron is currently at like 1 degree or 0 degrees Taurus. So
What's that mean?
what that means is that you are currently in your, and well, you technically just passed it, but it's still, the energy is still there. In your Chiron return. So right around the age 50 or so, 49, 50. Chiron comes back to the same place that it was whenever you were born.
Ooh.
And yeah, what that means is that it's, and this is with any, so we have like nodal returns, we have Saturn returns, we have Jupiter returns. Any returns means that the themes of that planet or asteroid are coming back for you to revisit and to clarify, to learn, to understand. It's really just depends on the planet as far as, like, what it does. But whenever, someone walks through a Chiron return, what that typically means is that there is an opportunity for reflection on one's wounds and how much one has healed in that context. So whenever you were talking about how your relationship with your parents is, like, great on both ends and you love it and all these things, that's immediately what I thought of.
Ah, okay.
'Cause that, to me, sounded like a wound of some sort that you had
Oh, yeah.
to, like, work through in
Mhm.
layers, and now that your Chiron return is happening, there's that reflection point of, "Okay, yeah, we're good, like, I'm good, like, I'm healed in
Mhm.
this area," you know? And this is where it transitions to be like, "Okay, now I'm here to help others heal that might be wounded similarly."
Yeah, but then they have to be receptive and
Well, yeah.
open to listening.
Yeah, of course. That's always important. Yes. And
Yeah,
that's and
hurdle
it will
number 1.
do what?
Hurdle number 1.
Yes, and but that's not their hurdle, technically, like, that's their hurdle. That's not our responsibility. That's like,
Mhm. Right.
um okay, so I think I answer the question with Chiron return?
Yeah, but also what was the one in Aquarius and Sagittarius?
So, that is Aquarius is where your moon is, and, as a bias, I was very excited to see that. I love my Aquarius moons. I have a lot of significant people in my life that have Aquarius moons, so I was like, "Of course, this is why I love her." Another reason. So, Aquarius moons are generally associated with needing to step back to observe their emotions, and they also need a lot of space to process their emotions, like physical space, mental space. So my mom is an Aquarius moon, and so I literally, like, have to give her all of that whenever she's needing to process through something. Yeah, there's just a lot of space in general. That's generally what Aquarius, it is an air element. And if someone has their sun in Aquarius, that typically means that they're here to be their unique selves. It is associated with, like, lightning strikes, electricity, and uniqueness. So it's your, like, the shock factor. But whenever you put it in with the moon, it's kind of like um, whenever emotions come up, it might feel shocking in a way, and therefore you need to take the space to really recognize and see yourself and whatever is coming up.
Okay.
Does that sound like you at all?
I don't need a lot of space, no.
You don't need a lot of
But
emotional space?
no, the only time I would say space is to regenerate, like, my
Mm,
energy. Like, if I'm but it's different than that. Like, so if I'm ripping and running or around people, I
mhm,
need time to rejuvenate myself. Like,
mm,
I wanna be in my home, I want just zen.
yeah.
That's the only time I really need any space.
Well, that's interesting. It might also be, like, developmentally where you are too, like, having processed through the wounds. That was the other thing I was gonna say. Okay, so real quick, let's go back to Chiron. So
Mhm.
Chiron, the gift of Chiron too is that it ebbs and flows. It's like divine timing is connected to Chirons, and it's like the divine flow of your lessons, of what you're here to be learning. So that whole dynamic of then here, then there, then that was connected to Chiron as well. But going let's transition back to the Aquarius stuff.
Mhm.
Where your moon is sitting is in the 4th house associated with home and the roots of who you are. And home, family, your emotional world, all of that stuff. So I that's where I'm seeing it connected, like you need space to be at home,
That makes sense.
to process your emotions, to, to hide essentially. That's me projecting here. I have to hide. I have multiple things hanging out down there, so I love being home. Me home.
I
Um,
love home.
it's
If I'm
amazing.
if I'm not at home, then I bet I have to be at a beach or at a
Yeah,
mountain,
yeah,
like, home
yeah.
is Taurus is our home body.
Yeah.
So, I love being just comfortable, chill. If
Yeah.
I'm like opposites. So if I'm not in my home, peace, chill, relaxing, then I want to be ripping and running. There's really no in
Mm,
between for me.
I love that. That's so fun.
And then
Um,
one more, what's the Sagittarius?
that is Neptune. So that is another generational planet that's gonna be, only loud if you have something personal connecting it to it. So, like, if you see a line it looks like you do have a line connecting to the moon, and you do have a line connecting to Pluto. So the connection between Neptune and Pluto probably will not be super loud, but maybe it will be louder connecting between the moon and Neptune. So Neptune is essentially what dissolves. It makes things blurry. It makes that this is the shadow of it, but like it makes things blurry. It's associated with fog, not being able to see clearly. And so with it sitting in Sagittarius, I'm wondering if it actually has more to do and actually with its location in your chart more specifically, it could also be associated with it's right in between the line of your sense of self-worth, values, and your connections with your siblings, connections with short-term travel and communicating. So I'm wondering if there is like it's almost like the line is blurred, like it's not clear. Like, I don't know, what your values are, and maybe the values of the people that you surround yourself with are kind of like the same. Like it might not be clear. Um, yeah, I don't know exactly how that would manifest, honestly. But yeah, there is something there, but it's like I said, it's gonna be more of a generational thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so anything else? Okay. So the other way that I tie in the organ chart is through the houses as well as time. So if time is associated with this natal chart, similarly to the organ chart, and so if someone is born right around noon, their sun is always going to be at the top of the chart. If someone's born right around midnight, bottom. If someone is born right around sunrise, it's going to be on the left-hand side, sunset, right-hand side. And the same for the organ chart. So it's literally the organs do not move and it's always at the same time, the same organ. So if, so the line between the stomach and the large intestine if someone is born right at 7 a.m., they're still going to have some large intestine influence and some things that
Mhm.
they're here to be learning about because of that, because they're right on the line. It's more fluid than that. So, with you being, and we kind of already talked about this a little bit, and because I want to honor our time too, I'm going to speed through some of the bladder and because we've already talked about it some. But those that are born during the bladder hour are going to be associated with the root, they're going to be associated with the water element, and more specifically, the yang organ that is in the water element. So, it is associated with being able to move through life and in a way that is in alignment with your destined path. So the spiritual qualities of this kidney bladder organ pair is associated with destiny, will, fate, life unfolding for you in the most magical way whenever you're in alignment with it. And if you're not, then that's whenever things start feeling stuck. That's whenever things start not moving. Like things are not moving. Like, why is life not here for me? That is all connected to the bladder and the kidney. Um, the bladder, since it's a yang organ, it is in service to the kidneys. And so the kidneys are the ones that are filtering through what life is doing and also helping us feel safe and secure and stable. And the bladder is one that is holding on to things as long as we need to hold on to it and then letting it go as life unfolds. This is the spiritual quality, not the physical, but letting go of the appropriate things that need to be let go of as life asks us to do it. And I feel that, I sense that with you with all the healing stuff that you just shared, like you know when you need to let go of something. You also know when you need to still be holding on to it. And also what is not good for you, like what is not your path. Like that that whole thing. So I think that's really fucking cool, that connection. Really, really do. And then that is where your sun is sitting, and that's also where Venus is sitting as well. And I mentioned Venus because she is the one that's ruling your rising sign. And I do want to mention this because I think this is really, really fucking cool. So your large intestine, I recently found, like within the last couple years, found some research that talks about how the health of your colon has a direct correlation with how you physically appear. And whenever I heard this, I was like, it's absolutely connected. Because literally your astrology chart, your rising sign is associated with how you physically appear.
My
And
rising
so
sign was what again? A
Libra.
Libra.
And so there is a intrinsic, and it's also like that intrinsic quality. So same in astrology, your rising sign, whatever the values of your rising sign is or are, those things are going to be the thing that comes intrinsically to you. And what else was it? What else was it? So that's also same, like the large intestine, the communication of the microbiome in your large intestine is something that you're not consciously thinking of. It is sending the signals up into your brain. It is
Mhm.
intrinsic. And so anything that's sitting there, and the more that you can, anyone, because this fits for anyone, the more you can support the qualities of your rising sign, the more that your overall system is going to be supported. And the other interesting
That's
thing, and I'll let you talk. I want to because I do want to hear
oh,
what you
yeah.
have to say about this. The other interesting thing about this is that a person's colon, and this is still a theory, but I've noticed so far, like it does mirror a little bit, but this whatever element that person's rising sign is going to have a connection with their colon, like how well their colon does. So, example,
Y
a water rising sign, they're probably, if they are ever out of balance or not living in alignment with their physical health, they're likely going to more so deal with diarrhea than constipation. For someone like me, who and is also a Libra rising, but I also have my moon there. So whenever my emotions are out of whack, whenever or if something is getting processed emotionally and I can feel it, I'm not really quite clear on it, what it is, but I can feel it. Constipation, I dry up, and that's an air sign. And so that's what I've noticed. And then there's also like, there's other ones too. But okay, now I'm done. Thank you for listening.
well, no, so I was thinking it would be something else. So for, like, me, when I get nervous or fear,
Yeah.
that's when I get, like, the diarrhea.
You get diarrhea.
Mhm. Well, yeah, like, I instantly gotta go.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise and it could be too from my history of chemo because that's when my gut got really jacked up. Otherwise, I and from my thyroid because my thyroid got hit with radiation. I was fine until I had chemo and radiation.
Yeah.
So I struggle now with constipation because I have thyroid issues and my gut
Mhm.
got messed up.
Mm.
So with that large intestine where it is with what I
Mhm.
have,
Mhm.
um, I'm not sure how that correlates, but
So, how I see it is your Venus, which is what rules your large intestine, is sitting in the water element.
okay.
So, that's how I see that connection. Also, because of Pluto sitting in Libra, it's once again, it's fluid, right? And it's so close to that line. Um, I do see that there's like, because essentially chemo and stuff like zaps everything. It kills everything. And so I see Pluto. That's where I see Pluto hanging out. Yeah, and but also there's the beautiful thing about Pluto energy, aka Scorpio energy, is that it's a three-layered process. So it's not just the death part, and similar to dirt, like the compost. So it's just a matter of working with it and healing it. And
It's a constant work,
yeah,
constant.
yeah. And so
But
that's
speaking with my whole bladder,
yeah.
so Motley will say, and a few other practitioners will say, cracked heels is bladder.
Uh-huh.
And then there's other people that will say it's fungal, and not specifically in bladder. So I have struggled with cracked heels for a long time, only on one foot,
Which foot is it?
my
Tell us.
left.
Ooh.
So I don't understand how what correlation is keeping that foot cracked.
Yeah, I wonder if it has to do because what's interesting is that that got brought up whenever I brought up in the and correct me, please let me know if this is actually accurate or not.
Okay.
But what I witnessed was whenever I brought up Pluto transformation, death, compost, that is what came up. It was that cracked heel, bladder stuff. And would you say that that's accurate? Like it kind of triggered that me sharing, or was something else?
No, well, no.
There's a reason why I'm saying this. But if it didn't fit, that's why I'm like, well, maybe it's not. But what I'm sensing, let me just share it. And if it doesn't
Yeah.
resonate, yeah, just say it. What I'm sensing though, especially with it being on the left foot, you know, and then we had that little nodule and or the cyst, and then we've got, you know, the Pluto Libra mother wound stuff, because we talked about that before.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if it is connected to all of that on an
But the
energetic.
left would be the father's side.
I thought it was because that's where it gets confusing. Because I thought that the left was the female side and the right was the masculine side. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe we can just leave it there.
You might be right. God, I don't have my
Because
book in
I,
front of me
well,
either.
it's like, well, I've heard Molly because he did like a reel recently, and it was like he specifically said neurologically, I think that's the right word, biologically, neurologically. He differentiated it. And whatever he differentiated, it was the opposite of common knowledge.
It is. It is the opposite. But you might be right, and I was flipping it in my brain. Um, let's see.
But it's like the neuro part of it versus the spiritual part of it, I think is yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Body. Wonder if Google would know. So the left side is feminine.
That is how I associate with it. And
You're
but I
right.
do think that there is that
It's the
caveat
yin.
that he talked about too, though. And I remember like him and me noticing specifically, he said neurologically or whichever word it was that he used.
That I was just trying to think of all throughout the years because when I found my lymphoma, it was also in my right breast. So I thought I had breast cancer, but it was lymphoma. And then that's also where my cyst is.
Yeah, it's on the right hand. And then you have your
And
left foot,
yeah.
not right hand.
And uh, so I don't know if this would also correlate with the left whole mother thing, but since I've been going to the chiropractor since I was 16, but after chemo, because I had cancer on my bones, the whole combination of all of it, my SI joint got really bad
Mm,
and on the left side only. So my
mm,
right side will always show short, but the pain is on my left side.
mm. Mhm. Well, I think that that's like making up for it, right? Is it because there's tension on the left side, and so
The right is compensating
yeah, but that's interesting. You would think that your left side would be the one that was short. At least I
because
would
it's
think that.
pulling it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So my piriformis and my hip, everything on the whole left is always jacked up.
interesting.
And then
Yeah, I
that's where
think
my
there's definitely
heels.
something about the communication because that hip is so connected to the womb. It's so connected to obviously the gallbladder, and I connect that also with the womb. But I think there probably is something about the communication or something, the lines of communication on that side
Well,
are,
that where the bladder meridian and the kidney meridian go up through
yeah.
the
Let me see. I
back.
got my doll right here. Hold on.
It goes up, on both sides through that area.
Yeah. Are you talking about, let's see here. So right here. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. So like right here.
No, on the back, because the bladder
Yeah, I didn't know
meridian.
if you were talking about the kidney or so yes, so the bladder is here, and then you said your heels, and that's a part of the bladder too, because you can kind of see that point there.
Yep.
Intriguing. Yeah, I wanna explore that more. I do. But we are
I
at our
never
time.
never put it together with being born in the bladder time. I never thought about that before. All these years, I never thought about that.
Well, and that's what I'm here for. 'Cause it literally this idea just came to me, and I've been experimenting with it, and it seems to be resonating, and it's been fun sharing and receiving your stories and receiving your perception of how you do life, and getting to see the connections with the bladder. You know, like,
Mhm.
I think that is so freaking cool. I
I
really,
know,
really
right?
do. For some reason, I just keep thinking about the mind and how that's connected to it as well. It's also connected to mental health too, like the 8th house in astrology, which is where your stuff is sitting too. Mental health, typically parents, I think, also dealing with mental health stuff too. Um, but that's yeah, I just want to add that in there because I had just remembered that.
Thank God I don't struggle with mental health. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm a very strong-willed and mental person
yeah.
that that's praise God because my daughter struggles with it a lot. And I remember when I got diagnosed and, being diagnosed with cancer it's all mental. It's truly a mental strength and determination that, when I got it first I got diagnosed and then you go through your whole staging after you get your scans. And so when I went in there to get my diagnosis of what stage I was right before I started my chemo, because I knew I was
Uh-huh.
gonna start chemo that morning. I went from my PET scan at 5 AM directly to my doctor's office, and she's like, "All right, I got everything, and, you're a stage 4. You have both lymphoma and lymphoma of the bone." And she asked me, she said a few other things, and then she's like, "You have any questions?" So I'm like, "No." And then she's like, "None." I'm like, "No." She grabs me, she's like, "Tina, I just told you that you have 2 stage 4 cancers. You have no questions." I said, "Nope." I'm like, "God's got me. Let's go start." Because I knew how long I had this cancer. It was for like a year. And so I mean, obviously, I could have taken a different route and not done chemo, but when, you've had pain for so long and you get told you have 2 fours, you're like, "Do I could be dying tomorrow for all I know."
Yeah.
And obviously, everybody has a pain to purpose when they get into health typically, and so that's how I found Chinese medicine was because of my diagnosis, and I didn't know what I know now for me to feel confident then to take the whole holistic route and to try to cure myself only holistically, because I as I was going through the chemo, I was doing everything I could naturally as well.
Mhm.
But when I say that to say most people would just bust out in tears and, because that's what she said, "You're the first person in my whole career that has never cried and had all these questions before," when I've told them that
Yeah.
they've had 3 or 4. I'm like, I mean, obviously, I did all my crying and when I first got diagnosed, like, the why me and the anger, the hurt, the scare,
Yeah.
you go through so many different stages of grief. But when I walked into that office knowing, it was gonna be bad anyways,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Well, I'm here now, like, there is no turning back.
Yep.
I got what I got, so let's fix it."
Mhm.
And so that, that's with the whole determination of thank God blessed me with a strong mind because the te back to the tenacity, girl. It's not stubbornness.
Yes. Yes. And I really do think it's just that whole level of, like, that mastery. I know I've brought it up multiple times, but I just keep seeing it. Like, it is what comes natural to you, but it's been your
Mhm.
biggest gift and support even
Yep.
whenever things are, um transforming, like, and dying
Yeah.
and, and being rebirthed, like, and you're even still in the process of doing that, like, with your gut and everything, and so it's
That was a
incredible.
big takeaway today is learning the whole mastery thing,
Mhm.
because I can associate that now with so many different things that I've been through in life with that one word of what it means
Yeah, I love
of
that. Well, I'm glad. You're welcome. I'm still so curious about the bladder with that ankle, like, I wanna do some energetic like, I wanna do something. So, next time you're in do you come to this area very often?
are you in Nashville?
Yeah,
Are you
nearby,
are
yeah.
you by Motley? So
No, but
oh,
I can come to you. I'm like an hour away from him. Did you have any final questions about or any other organs or anything that you're seeing in connection with the things that we talked about with your astrology chart?
mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Um, I did want to mention that Sagittarius Neptune stuff,
Hmm.
real fast, as I'm feeling called to share this for some reason. So, generational mindset with Neptune, and it's sitting right on the axis of lung and liver. And so, if you've had family members that maybe have had liver problems or lung things, like it's all that stuff there. Like, not being able to grieve, not being able to, like, process, transform, like, life.
First things that instantly popped in my head. My great grandfather had lung cancer. Well, it started with prostate, went to lung.
Uh-huh.
This was back when you could smoke in the hospitals. He was smoking in the hospital with his step cancer. I was never big into blood work prior to when I went through my diagnosis. And, now reading blood work is one of my favorite things to do. But I had struggles with my liver enzymes being
Mm,
higher than what they should be. And I recently just got them down for like the first time in like 5 years. Maybe longer. So I don't know where that's really translating from, but when you just said those 2 things, lung and liver, I've been having liver enzyme issues,
mhm,
and every time I do any lymphatic work, it's
mhm.
always sticks at my liver when she's doing
Mm,
the wand, and I don't like grieving. I'm good at grieving, like, I'll cry
yeah,
watching a commercial, like, I have no
yeah.
issues with that, but, I'm also from my genetic
Mm,
standpoint, my
mhm,
SNPs, I don't have that empathy.
yeah.
So, like, when somebody keeps bitching about something, I'm like, "What are you bitching for?" Like, I don't have it in me to be, "Oh, you poor thing," like, what are you gonna do about it? So, and that could be, falls under some of the lunging of the emotion.
Okay,
So,
well,
I don't know if
it's
that's,
understandable.
involved with anything of what you're saying, but those are the
Yeah.
first 2 things that jumped out at me when you said.
I love that. That's interesting for sure. I was thinking about whenever I talked about grief and stuff, I was thinking about family members that might not grieve well or might not grieve, period. Um
Mm.
so that's kind of what I was thinking.
Husband?
Okay. There's something there. But and then it's also kind of connected to whenever we're able to grieve, our liver is also able to because it they connect to each other, right? So
Mhm.
that liver is also gonna be able to do its job better and to transform and it does so much. The hormones, the bile, all the
Well,
things.
2 things. I'm in my whole menopause transition, and then, with the liver, and my
Mhm.
husband's a metal element.
Mm,
So, that's the environment that I'm around, I live with.
yeah. Interesting.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
that it's the metal energy,
Yeah.
metal and water energy in the home.
Okay, there's so much. I like I'm just so curious. Everything you say, I just get so curious about. But we are way over on time. Um, thank you so much, Tina, for your graciousness, your time, your curiosity, your mind, your stories, all of it. I truly do appreciate you sharing your insights and helping us see the connections between someone's astrology chart and with those sacred organs that we're here to be working with. The
Thank
only
you.
other Yes, you're welcome. I do feel led to share this as well that like the only other like this is probably for me, the most important piece that I didn't even get to talk about or share, so I'm going to share it now, is the integration piece. How do we actually apply this knowledge? And
Yeah.
because for me, it's not meant to just stay in the head. It's not meant to just be like, ooh, this is cool. I love that sensation. But also, the integration part is actually whenever we work with the literal seasons of that we're living in right here and right now. So for you, we're currently in the summertime, or for us, we're currently in summertime and we're in Cancer season. And so, how I would work and integrate this information is I would look at your chart of what Cancer season represents for you. And then I would ask you to reflect on past Cancer seasons and if there were any significant events that happened, if you journal, notating like where there's beliefs, the same beliefs coming up, or the same emotions coming up, or the same relationship dynamics coming up, whatever it is, if you're seeing patterns that actually helps guide the overall process of integration with your chart and the organs. And then it guides, for me, it guides my cleanses, like when I do cleanses and everything. So I just wanted to mention that as well, just as a little piece.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Do you have any final thoughts before we close out?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you all have a great day. Until next time.